Hey y'all, while I'm out here, I figured I'd do a quick history video for y'all. So currently, as I'm walking through the thickets of Florida out here, this place is called 12 Mile Swamp. Uh, Gets its name, it's 12 miles north of St. Augustine. So this place has a little bit of history to it, hence why I'm making this video. So this little known war called the Patriots War takes place in Florida. It's going to take place in 1811 and 1812. So you're going to have a bunch of militia come from Georgia, as well as some U.S. Marines, supported by the president initially. Are going to come down into Spanish Florida, because it's held by the Spaniards at this time, to kind of stir up trouble and incite rebellion and make Florida U.S. rather than Spanish. So in doing so, they're going to come down the border and harass the Spaniards and their local Seminole bands that are with them, as well as their mulatto soldiers. At this point, they're gonna make their way all the way down to St. Augustine. They're gonna get to the confines of Fort Mose, which is just outside of town, 2 miles outside of it. They're going to get stuck. Basically, they don't have enough men, enough soldiers. They've been on the march for months. They don't have the supplies. They don't know what to do. They're outside of St. Augustine, which has the massive Castillo de San Marcos, as well as a military force and gunboats. Eventually, that's going to lead to them being driven off from Fort Mose, but they're going to need essential supplies to continue their campaign. So in doing so, they're going to come north over to the Davis Creek Blockhouse. It's going to be 22 miles north of St. Augustine, and to get there, they have to go through the 12-mile swamp. So the U.S. Marines and militia know that this area is full of Seminole and mulatto soldiers working with the Spaniards to harass the Americans and kick them out of Spanish Florida, right? So, in marching through 12 Mile Swamp, right, it's in September, it's hot, it's muggy. That's halfway through the day. They're marching up Kings Road through this area, much similar to what you see right here. And they're gonna keep their eyes open. They're gonna be watching the thickets because they know that the enemy is close and near, but they can't see them. They hear rustling in the bushes. They hear people talking off in the distance. They know something's ahead. So they're moving fast, quick. They're gonna make sure they're not stopping, keep the supply wagon moving, keep all the soldiers going despite most of them being sick and wounded. At this point, you're gonna have 20 Marines, as well as some commanding officers, and about an equal amount or a little bit more of militia from Georgia. At this point, they're going to get somewhere in the vicinity of this area. Again, looks much similar. Very thick woods and pine forests with a swamp on the other side of that and a side over here preventing them from going anywhere, just marching down the road. Out of nowhere, midday, there's going to be a massive volley launched from the woods, musketry erupting all around them. It's going to sound like a giant thunderstorm. The Americans just got ambushed. At this point, the commanding officer is going to fall wounded, having about 12 shots, 9 to 12 shots hit him. The rest of the soldiers duck for cover. The Marines get to the sides of it and conduct a line to fire into the woods and drive off their enemy. After about an hour of fighting, they're going to call for retreat to go deeper into the swamp. At this point, the Seminole and mulatto soldiers are not going to follow them. They themselves have had several wounded in the fight, but only one American who's going to fall dead later, a colonel, at a plantation not too far out of here. This would be called the Ambush of 12 Mile Swamp. A little facet of U.S. history and Florida history that's not often talked about, but I figured deserved its own video. Thank you very much, y'all.